of bruises all over my body. So if I come off as that way, that's why. Just got done doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it was only my second time in several years, and I'm super rusty. And I want to give an example, kind of an analogy, and I want to use David Goggins for that. And I want to talk about what David Goggins gets right, and I want to talk about what David Goggins gets wrong, okay? And I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. David Goggins is amazing, and I'm mainly going to talk about what he gets right, and David Goggins will change your life. You need to buy his books. I mean, I love David Goggins' mindset overall, but there are some things that if you're not careful when it comes to anxiety, stress, overwhelming the nervous system, that we got to be careful of. So let me start out by giving an example of something where David Goggins gets it right, okay? So whenever I've been training with guys that are bigger than me, sometimes significantly bigger than me, which doesn't take much because right now I'm about 130 pounds. These guys that I've been training with the last couple days, they're anywhere from, on the lower end, 20 pounds heavier than me, up to, I would even say 90 to 100 pounds heavier than me, depending on who we're talking about. And I've been training and doing the best that I can, but I mean, they've got a huge size advantage over me. And so I really got to work a lot harder. Now, I will say that I use their size against them because I basically just keep them from passing my guard until they wear themselves out, and then I will try to do some sort of submission. But it's a lot of work keeping a freaking, like today I went against a guy that was like 190 pounds. It's hard keeping a 190-pound gorilla off of you whenever they're trying to choke you. And so, with that being said, it's forcing me to go to a level of resilience and even skill eventually that once I come across a person who's about my size, it's going to seem significantly easier because of me conditioning myself with people that are significantly bigger and even more skilled than me. And so today, there was this guy there that was about my size, and once the training class was over, the coach was like, okay, it's open mats, you guys can roll. And I was really freaking tired. I did not want to do it, but I was like, you know what? This is where I did tap into that David Goggins mindset. I'm like, you know what? No. Like I'm gonna push myself a little bit, right? And the one guy that was about my size, or at least he's probably bigger than me, which again, doesn't take much. If you weigh 15 pounds, you're bigger than me. But his name was Jordan, believe it or not. Super cool guy. And he was definitely more skilled than me, for sure. But we start rolling, and, you know, I pulled him into my guard or whatever, and just, it was so much easier to grapple with a guy that is about my size now that I have grappled with only guys that are between 20 and 90 pounds heavier than me. And I was able to submit him, and I got him into a triangle choke. Now, don't get me wrong, this dude was a badass. Like, he's really good, and he is way better than I am, okay? But what I'm saying is, because I had trained with people that were so much better than me and so much bigger than me, it made him seem like not that big of a deal, even though he's challenging, okay? And so, and by the way, he submitted me once, and then I got set up for a rear naked choke. I couldn't get it in though, and I got set up for a guillotine choke too. But man, he overall he beat me. He whooped my ass. But anyway, all that I'm saying is, it's not about who beat who, but I just want to be clear. Like, he's way better than me. But this is where David Goggins gets it right, okay? He talks about doing something that sucks every day, and he talks about that the reason why he runs is because that gives him a mental callus, so that way, whenever he faces the challenges of life, he's already conditioned his mind to not give up, and his body to not give up. And in general, I think that that's awesome. I think that's true because life is warfare. You guys follow me long enough. I mean, I talk with my clients about this almost every day, but on YouTube, you've heard me do some videos about this. If you follow me, I'm real big on that. Life is warfare, and you have to have a soldier's mentality towards life. And the way that you win warfare is you go on the attack. You go on the offense. That's one thing that I was practicing the last couple days, even though it's hard with freaking 190, 200-pound gorillas trying to choke me. But like with this guy that was about my size, you know, one thing that I practice is, you know, even if I was just kind of holding his head a little bit in a choke, he's going to have to spend all of his time trying to defend that because it's super uncomfortable. I mean, if you can't even hardly breathe, where the head goes, the body follows, right? Whenever it comes to martial arts in general. If he's so distracted with my offensive move, he can't go on the offense and choke me out, right? And that's a lot like life. See, most people play the defense on life. They're waiting until bad things happen, and then they're going to get a strategy together. Going on the attack, going on the offense simply means that you are training yourself, you're conditioning yourself, and you're being proactive in life instead of reactive, okay? And so by me doing this jiu-jitsu, waking up early in the morning, this morning I woke up at about 5 a.m. And going and doing jiu-jitsu, and let's say that I go for a jog, right? And I push myself a little bit past, you know, whenever I want to quit. Like, these things are great, generally speaking. It builds that mental callus, and you need that for life because life is freaking hard. Even if you have a lot of great things going on, right? Even if you've achieved success in every area of life, life is still going to have rejection, betrayal. There's going to be sickness. There's going to be death. You're going to lose your loved ones at some point, right? There's going to be hardship that comes your way in life. It's really, really hard. And you need to be ready for it, or else life is going to kick your ass. And that's what it did with me for my whole life. I was playing the defense. I was waiting until life just stopped being challenging, and it never happened. And I was living in reaction. That's part of why I reached a state of traumatic stress that I now help people with for a living, is because I didn't have an offensive strategy with my health, with my mind, with my emotions, with my relationships, with my nutrition, with my hydration, with my exercise, with everything, okay? I didn't have an offensive strategy. I was just playing defense, and my mind and body were being driven into the ground. So anyway, with that being said, that's where David Goggins gets it right. And I think that you need to have that mindset, generally speaking. You need to do things that suck every day, push yourself a little bit past your limits for short periods of time. So me going and doing jiu-jitsu and pushing myself past my limits for an hour is one thing. Now here's where David Goggins gets it wrong, okay? And maybe he's changed his tune on this. I don't actively follow him like I used to. Not that I don't love him. I just, you know, I've gotten the principles that I need, and I champion him, and I recommend his books and stuff. But I just don't. I follow more Jocko Willink, which, you want to know how big of a Jocko Willink fan I am. I have a Jocko hoodie on right now, and I got this shirt that says "Good." Go on YouTube and type in Jocko and then "good" and watch that video. It's a pretty amazing video. Didn't get the new high-speed gear? Good. More time to train with the old gear. But anyway, like, where he gets it wrong is there is a point where you need to rest. And in fact, generally speaking, you need to rest. You need to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep. You need to stay hydrated. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying that Jocko doesn't say to stay hydrated, and I want to be clear. You need to eat right. You need to listen to your body and not push it past its limits, generally speaking. And see, people tend to go one extreme or the other. It's either, let's say the one opposite extreme of the spectrum is people are lazy on the couch, and that's a lot of who not Jocko, him too, but David Goggins speaks towards. There's a lot of people out there. They're not doing shit with their lives. They're just sitting there, wasting away. But you gotta get that mental callus, man. Get off the couch, you know. Stay hard. Go look up David Goggins, and that was the worst impersonation ever. But that's one extreme, okay? But whenever you're coming out of one extreme in anything, we have a tendency to go to the equal opposite extreme. So we go from being lazy on the couch eating Twinkies, which I think I need to eat a few Twinkies. I mean, look at me. I'm working on it, guys. I have to eat foods that are low in the glycemic index. So it's hard to gain weight whenever you've got that. But anyway, we go from one opposite end of the spectrum to the opposite extreme, where now we're running 10 miles a day. We get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. We never listen to our body. We're in the gym 6 days a week, working out 2 hours a day. That's the opposite extreme, right? Don't stop whenever it hurts. Stop when you're finished. Like, yes, occasionally. But what we need to do is swing the pendulum back down to the middle, okay? We need to come back down to balance, okay? And the balance is that, generally speaking, we do listen to our body and we don't push ourselves past our limits. That's the number one thing that I had to do to get over anxiety and panic attacks and traumatic stress and depersonalization, realization, and all those symptoms that you hear me talk about, is I had to start listening to my body. And I never listened to my body because I was up here. And I know that this always upsets some people whenever I say this. If you're like a hardcore exercise person, and I love exercise, I teach my clients to exercise, but sometimes those people that are going to the gym 6 days a week for 2 hours a day, or are like running constantly, not saying always, to be very, very clear, not even saying most of the time, but sometimes, and I know this because I've been coaching them for the last 6 years, sometimes they're running from their body, believe it or not. You would think that because it's body-based, oh, well, I'm in the gym, I'm running, all these, extreme marathons or half marathons or whatever, or just doing extreme sports, like it's body-based, right? So it's surely taking care of my body. Sometimes like exercise can be an escape, or going to the gym can be an escape. Because whenever you exercise, it releases endorphins, which are natural painkillers. People put music in their ears. It's basically one big dissociative experience for some people. Now, there's also a lot of people that it's an embodied experience, and it's fine. All that I'm trying to say is, you would think that if you're exercising in an extreme way and you're waking up early and neglecting sleep and, working out all the time, that's just going to be amazing all the time. But sometimes, depending on what you're dealing with, which my audience are people who are really stressed out, their nervous system is overwhelmed, that's actually going to push you further away from where you're trying to go if you're trying to get a calm nervous system and get rid of your stress and anxiety. And so even with working out, like, let's go to the opposite end of the extreme. Let's pull it down back to balance. Working out is good, but maybe do 3 days a week for 45 minutes. Right? Exercise is good, but instead of running for 5 miles a day, why not drop it down to do a 15 to 20 minute brisk walk right now? And maybe later on, once you're out of these symptoms, you can crank it up a little bit, but never crank it up too high to the point that you're walking around in a constant state of fatigue and you got to drink Red Bull just to make it through the day. You got to drink 5 cups of coffee to make it through the day, right? And you're just exhausted. That's where we get into some problems, okay? So where David Goggins gets it right is you need to build the mental callus. You need to do things that suck every day. I'm demonstrating to you that I believe in that, okay? But it needs to be occasional, okay? But generally speaking, when your body is saying no, you don't say yes. You need to take that nap. I know that that's not like hustle culture, and there'll be these people on Instagram and they're like, it'll have this text or whatever, and they're at the gym and it's like, I got 4 hours of sleep, it's 5 a.m, and I'm exhausted, but I'm still here because I hustle. And everybody, it's got 70,000 likes and all this stuff. And what I'm saying will never be popular, but I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to change people's lives, right? I'm not trying to, this isn't a popularity contest. And I'm the guy that comes into people's lives and tells them what they don't want to hear. That's what I've been doing for 6 years. And if I work with a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, I'm going to be kind about it, but I'm like, hey man, like, we got to make this change. All right. If you really want these results that you're saying, we have to make this change. Or if I'm talking to anybody, what I'm saying is, I don't care. I talk to people the same. because there is a price tag on this. And sometimes whenever you're getting that nap, people are gonna, they're gonna almost poke fun at you. I've had that happen many times. I'm taking like a 20, 30-minute nap, and I get a little bit of ridicule for that. Oh, okay, just take, like, people associate rest with laziness. I associate rest with success. Because the more rested that I am, the more that I can think, right? Jeff Bezos, former CEO of Amazon, creepiest laugh that I've ever heard. Wah, wah. Not saying I love his business practices, not condoning him as a person, okay? But I don't like to throw people out just because I don't agree with some stuff. But the dude built a pretty freaking amazing company, right? Even though I think there's some ethical concerns with the way that they do their business with their workers. That's a whole nother thing. But I watch CEO interviews every single day whenever I eat my lunch. I listen to Richard Branson. I listen to Elon Musk. I listen to Jeff Bezos. Anyway, I listen to a number of guys. Jeff Bezos is famous for saying, I always get 8 to 9 hours of sleep. We back? Okay, anyway, so I got a call. But anyway, Jeff Bezos is famous for saying that he gets 8 to 9 hours of sleep. And you would think, oh my gosh, well, he built one of the biggest companies in the world. Surely he's got to be getting like 4 to 5 hours of sleep. No, because he says the more rested that I am, the better decisions that I make as CEO. So I want you to recondition your mind to associate rest equals success. The more rested that you are, the more successful that you'll be. You'll be. It's about quality over quantity. It's not about putting in 12, 13-hour days if you're exhausted and you're working on the wrong things, right? And in general, you're going to have better relationships. You're going to be better at your job. You're going to be more rested for your children. And you're just going to feel better overall, with occasional moments of pushing yourself a little bit past your limits to build that mental callus, because life is warfare. That is the balance. I got to go. I'm getting calls. 7 o'clock. That's whenever the hammer goes down in my life. We got got to get kids to school. Wife needs me, all this stuff. Okay. Talk to you guys soon. And we'll talk to you. I already just said we'll talk to you real soon. I don't know what I'm thinking. Talk to you soon. Talk to you soon. We'll talk to you soon.